Thank you. Thank you for coming. Thank you for coming. I hear, you know what? 20,000 people are gathering here for this TED Talk today, right? Is that wrong? Oh, really? Who cares? Don't worry. Anything, as I said, anything can happen. So, like you see, I'm kind of a funny guy, and then I usually makes a lot of jokes within a speech. But today, I have to be really kind of serious, because what I talk is going to be really a serious thing. That's why I'm, wearing, jacket like this, and also wearing my tie. Where's my tie? Tie's gone. Well. Don't worry. Ties will be back to my speech. Now, let me start with some questions like this. We Japanese think that our future is not great. Not great. Why? Why did SNS rapidly get people's heart? SDGs and ESG are globally argued intensely. Why now? Why do we have to rely on the economy, which is almost like a roller coaster? I can't hear any laughs, but I'm going to start. Is there any issue we should think of? Since the 1960s. It's kind of, it's almost like 60 years ago, right? Since the 1960s. We have developed our economy tremendously. Now look at the curve. And at some point, we were rated at number 2 GDP economy all over the world. Isn't it great, isn't it? And after that, we've got suffered an economic severe situation, which is typically called lost 30 years. By the way, when we see the same graph of the United States, it's going to be like this, skyrocketing. But that's not my point. Back to 1960s. I feel like I'm losing some kind of important thing. Or we may have already forgotten the important thing. What do you think it is? What do you think the important thing is? Anybody can answer? Great silence. Although we have 20,000 people here. And in fact, because of that, I'm thinking the last years, not 30 years, but 60 years. So what is that? Social capital. Do you know social capital? By your hands, if you know that. Raise your hands, please. 1 out of 20,000 people. Okay, that's great. Is this something like this? Or something like this? No, they're public infrastructure, it is called, and it's not within the category of social capital. Then what is the social capital? Social capital is the human ties and bonds and the human relations and the mutual trust, among people within a society. And because of that, we can enjoy lots of benefits from it. Maybe you can understand what I'm telling, but probably you don't have the concrete image, right? So I will give you a good example. Remember, there used to be traditional types of Japanese shopping streets. We call them shotengai. And the shotengai was typically constituted by local businesses. The owners and the families were working there. Thus, they know the customers and the neighbors very well. And the customers and the neighbors also know them very well. So there is the great human relationships there. Then what was going on there? Great thing. Kids in the streets were safe without their parents because the shotengai people used to take care of them. When the kid looked alone or sad, shotengai people used to call him out and chat, or giving some tea or candies and talked. So meaning, they are providing local security and education out of school. They are actually do it just because they're thinking like that is one of the reasons being there. But as time goes on with our economic development, it is becoming more and more tough to survive for those local businesses, and we have lost the relationships with those people. But we still need local security and education out of school, right? So what we're going now, we are going to do what? Paying more taxes to set all security cameras along with the streets, and also paying more taxes to build children caring centers or something like that by local governments. That means we're paying more and more taxes to maintain our society. That means our society is getting more and more inefficient. Something weird is happening here, don't you think? Thank you. And many of you, maybe 5. No. I'm not. I'm going to say anything. As I told you, I said, our economic growth, and that has richer than 60 years before. But we at the same time we lost some kind of human relationships with those people. That has made poorer in our mind since. Then you guys are thinking, some of you probably think like, oh, okay, this guy is talking about rich economically versus rich, in our minds. Then I'm going to ask you, are they contradictory? No, I don't think so. I believe that we can keep rich in both senses at the same time. I believe that we have lots of tools now to achieve both keeping rich. By tools, I mean is something like this, smartphone or the communication technologies, like an SNS or chat or emails or whatever, those kind of things. And also believe that we can trust each other with those tools and communications. And I believe we can help each other with our kindness. There is a good Japanese phrase to expressing this situation. Otagaisama. Maybe the guys in front of me understand this phrase, right? Mm-hmm. Yes. Yeah, because we have 20,000 anyway. But it's kind of really hard to translate it in English. So I simply Googled the word, and I got some phrases. So I'll show you. You scratch my back. I'll scratch yours. Together. Yeah. I do this for you because I know you would do the same for me. That's what friends or buddies are for. Now you get the sense, or some kind of image, right? Now in the time where almost like controlled by one of the famous economic factors, which is money. But you should, at the same time, you should always keep in mind that you're not living for money, or at least you're not living only for money. So it's the time to change our mind. Don't behave like, they're doing their business and that's none of my business or something like that. You are a part of our society. You cannot live without our society. So you see someone needs help, please do that, help that. And also one more thing. Let's use imagination to fully utilize our modern tools, and as I said, for our society. I know you guys have been using your lots of SNS or those kind of stuff for yourself, with maybe friends or families and colleagues and so on and so forth, but not for society yet, right? So we need probably the imagination or creativeness, what we can do for our society using those devices. Then we're going to have the happier society and a stronger society, which eventually leads to the stronger economy too. Oh, by the way, please don't prisoner of those kind of SNS, because well, maybe you might not know, but sometimes is that okay to say this at TED Talk? But I'm going to say SNS sometimes tries to control you. So please be careful and be sure, just be yourself. And let's make the better world together. I believe we can make it together. Thank you.